There are massive rumors here in China that BYD will invest a massive amount of money into NIO to form a joint venture. What? Now, this could, of course, be total BS, and it could just be conjured up by some random dude, but it is gaining some traction, so of course we got to talk about it. All right, 6.7 billion, that's no joke. And of course, NIO CEO has met up with BYD CEO in the past. They're good buddies, and also for Onvo, they're already using BYD's battery tech in the Onvo battery packs. Right? They're using BYD's Blade battery cells in those battery packs. So, and of course, NIO already has all these automakers as their partner for battery swap cars. Right? We got Geely, you got Chang'an, you got all these companies, Chery, JC. They're all planning to, and they're coming out with cars that will be able to do battery swap very, very soon and use NIO's battery swap ecosystem. So why hasn't BYD hopped on board? Could it be because they're waiting to form this joint venture, right? So what exactly is this rumor, okay? So here, I have this screenshot. This is, of course, what that rumor is. It's the fact that NIO is going to put up the technology because NIO doesn't really have a lot of extra money, per se. And BYD is going to put out the money, so to speak. And the money equates to about 6.7 billion. And with that, they're going to form this joint venture company, allegedly. And the name is like BNIO, sort of kind of corny, like B 未来, which is kind of like that 未来 is actually future. So sort of like B future, kind of weird name, to be honest. But that's what the rumor suggests. And I'm inclined to think that this rumor is not real. However, I do believe that BYD will eventually hop on to the battery swap bandwagon like everybody else has. And it's very interesting how this rumor talks about tech licensing, because this is something that's already happening with NIO, right? 47 is doing technology licensing out NIO's technology to build their own vehicles. Very, very nice. Of course, they're going to have to pay NIO, right? NIO's going to get a juicy profit. And of course, the Swap Alliance is also technology licensing. So you already have these technology licensing deals that have been signed and inked in the paper, right? So, and going down the line, NIO CEO said they're open to license out the SkyOS operating system, which is their own self-developed operating system, aka like Android, like how Google licenses out Android to let other phone makers use Android. Same thing. He said he's on live stream. He said he's going to do that. Okay, so that's another potential avenue for revenue. And then on top of that, you also have NIO's own self-developed chip, the NX chip, God brain, so to speak. And of course, with that's another massive opportunity for technology to be licensed out for revenue. So they already are licensing out technology for revenue with 47, with the battery swap deals, etc. And then they're going to do that with those other things. So it's very possible that BYD will eventually hop on board, and they're going to make that accessible. The problem is, I think why they're not doing it right now could be cost related. So BYD cars are mostly much cheaper vehicles, right? They're much cheaper economical vehicles, and some of them are like hybrids, DMI, that kind of stuff. And with that, they're able to provide a very nice sort of like a Toyota Corolla, so to speak. BYD sells way more than Toyota now here in China. And they're pretty much like the new generation of Toyota Corollas here in China. And with those cars, you're able to get from point A to point B at a very cheap price. So, and fairly good design for their cars, fairly, relatively speaking, pretty nice interior compared to like a Toyota Corolla, so to speak. And with that, you got a winner. Cheap price, good range, right? And then pretty nice interior, and you can't say it's bad. And with that, you got a winner. But of course, cost is a very important factor in that. And adding battery swap, of course, incurs some costs, and that could make their cars a little bit more expensive, which they probably might not want to do. Now, of course, how much more expensive? Well, NIO CEO, when he was trying to persuade Xiaomi CEO to join in on battery swap, and keep in mind that eventually Xiaomi CEO said that they will join in on battery swap. Right? Xiaomi is also a shareholder, early shareholder of NIO, so they said they will join in on battery swap. But during the process, NIO CEO talked about how it's just going to cost them like a few thousand extra, and that in terms of R&D, it's going to maybe cost them like a couple 100 million RMB, and then spread over the cost of the cars. It's a minuscule amount. So there is definitely some cost associated with adding battery swap to the car. It's not like it's for free, no. And of course, that cost is probably what NIO is charging them for using NIO's battery swap. So it's very interesting. I mean, could that cost be the barrier for why BYD is not partnering up with NIO at the moment? Because BYD's cars, they want it to be economical? Well, but why is Geely partnered up with NIO, right? Geely, they also produce cheap cars, and they want their cars to be very accessible to the masses. But they had no problem partnering up with NIO. So it could also be because of this rumor, right? We're not partnering up with NIO, so to speak, because we want BYD to be able to make cheap cars, and then we have our other brands like Yangwang to make those expensive cars, and then we want to form a joint venture that is able to do battery swap, and that wouldn't really affect our main business. And also, on the contrary, all right, this is the very cup half full kind of thinking, okay, the very pessimistic kind of thinking, like how Huawei's CTO thinks. Huawei's CTO thinks that battery swap has no future because it restricts technology innovation, all right? And perhaps some pessimists might say that because it constricts technology innovation, that they perhaps might not want to bet the chips on such a thing. Of course, I disagree with this, right? How should I put it? In some cases, it could be a little bit more difficult to, say, upgrade the ecosystem. For example, right now, NIO is very soon transitioning from 400-volt cars to 900-volt cars. So that means, swap stations are still going to have the 400-volt batteries, but then also have the 900-volt batteries. And, they're not interchangeable, right? I can't swap onto that. He can't swap onto my battery. And that's why the CTO is a little bit, not so with battery swap, so to speak. And perhaps BYD doesn't want to bet the farm with their main brand on battery swap, and they just want to do their own thing and then have that joint venture, right? Do like something crazy and perhaps like maybe build a brand new car using NIO's technology that can do battery swap. And of course, that's something that they're probably very willing to pursue. So I believe eventually BYD is going to join in on battery swap. There's no question about that. I mean, there's so many companies already, and I think they see that in the future, battery swap will be sort of like the gas station of the EV age. You got all sorts of different battery varieties, and you can just swap onto whichever one you want. But yeah, so that's the interesting rumor. I hope it's true. That's going to be amazing, right? And we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's wait for an announcement if there is one. Okay? As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.